we turn the attention to Bhulabhai Desai. Now, Sir Tej was in Allahabad, and perhaps the same similar stature and eminence Bhulabhai had in Bombay High Court, Chartered High Court. I'll refer to a particular incident that's there on page 172 of the old edition of your book. There was an incident a particular day when MacLeod was the Chief Justice of Bombay High Court, and Sir Bhulabhai was on his feet, and came a stage when the judge took up the 11th original side appeal. And at that stage, Bhulabhai Desai sort of protested. What was the actual background of that?
May I say something to begin with about the great man?
Yes.
Bhulabhai Desai was just about 2 years younger than Sir Tej Bahadur Sapru. Tej Bahadur Sapru was born on 8th December 1875. Bhulabhai Desai was born in October 13, 1877.
Okay.
And Sir Jamshedji Kanga was also born in 1875, February 27.
They were all of the same vintage.
Same age, same group.
Yes.
And no less a person than Jamshedji Kanga, who was Palkiwala, Sirwais, said that we are not in the same class as Bhulabhai.
Okay.
You can understand the level, the esteem that Bhulabhai commanded. He was extraordinary. His English was impeccable. His grasp was fantastic. He knew his law so thoroughly, and he could put it across very effectively. And as a young man, he was sitting in the Bombay High Court library and jotting down something. The great invariety, I think we have spoken about invariety earlier.
Yes.
The great invariety was passing by, and invariety, as we have spoken, was extraordinary. Is not the word that could describe it. He could do 4 things at a time perfectly. And his memory was so good that he never made any notes. He never read anything a second time, etc. So in Virarity, passing by, saw this young Bhulabhai making notes. He just bent over his shoulders. What are you doing? He just took that paper, tore it off, and no. Young man, learn to rely on your memory. Okay. Bhulabhai took it to heart, literally, and to his entire career, and which was long, brilliant, varied. He did not touch the pen on the paper. If even it was a brief running to 2,000, 4,000 pages, no.
Something extraordinary.
Extraordinary. Yes. And I have heard that attorneys, solicitors who briefed him, preserved the briefs he had worked upon to say, this is it. He has not even put one dot. So that was the
level.
Kind of.
Yes.
And in his younger days, as he began, of course, he was very successful. There were occasions when he was briefed in Bombay, they call it chamber summonses, I think, interlocutory matters. In all the 21 chamber summons before the chamber judge, Bhulabhai was briefed. There were many days like that.
Yes.
And of course, in later life, such briefs he would send to his great junior, Motilal Setalvad, our first attorney general, later.
First attorney general, yes.
Yes, and Setalvad would work on them as a junior and appear the next day. Sunday afternoon, it seems, Bhulabhai would send a bag to Motilal to work on and appear in the court the next day. So this was the kind of person. And Chief Justice MacLeod was a brilliant judge. He was there for a long time as Chief Justice, but not in the same mold as Chief Justice Jenkins, if one may say. Lawrence Jenkins was, came down from England as a puisne judge at the Calcutta High Court, came to Bombay as Chief Justice of the Bombay High Court, went back to England and came down again as Chief Justice of the Calcutta High Court.
Okay.
And then went to the Judicial Committee of the Privy Council. Yes. In fact, Lawrence Jenkins is considered perhaps the greatest English judge to have come to India.
Yes.
So, the point that I am now trying to say is that when he was Chief Justice.
Yes.
When Jenkins was Chief Justice at Bombay, one of the greatest things he did was to encourage and support the Indian bar. It is said that the Indian bar in Bombay came to its own during the Chief Justiceship of Sir Lawrence Jenkins. Okay. And all these people Kanga, Chimanlal Setalwad's
Yes.
father, Bhulabhai Desai, all of them great in their own right, were also perhaps beneficiaries of Jenkins' encouragement and support to
Okay.
the Indian lawyers.
Right.
So that was Jenkins, and he was a real lawyer,
Yes.
not just. MacLeod was very quick. He could dispose of matters in no time. But it is said that he did not have that much of a regard for, first principles and all that. It was quick disposal. And he could dispose of 20
Very
first
quick
appeals.
disposal. Yes.
Yes. But on the whole, good disposal.
Yes.
It's not just because it was quick, I wouldn't say it was bad or, uh, not.
Perhaps went to the root of the matter and was very
Yes, yes,
quick grasp.
yes.
Yes.
And he had famously said, he doesn't even need a courtroom. Give me a chair and a table. I will sit under the tree and dispose of. This was the kind of man. So, lawyers also knew. And on that particular day, Bhulabhai Desai had read 10 appeals and argued them
Yes.
and thought that that would be the limit of uh,
MacLeod.
even MacLeod. But almost 4:30, rising of the court time,
Yes.
is the next case. It is then that Bhulabhai protested. But to be honest, I have no information. I couldn't get it from anywhere. What happened after the protest?
Yes. That's not known.
I don't know,
Yes.
to be honest.
Whether the
Because,
judge conceded
yes,
and
or
yes.
whether Bhulabhai went on, because
Yes.
brilliant as he was, he could, even without the full preparation, carry on for the few minutes that were left before the court rose. That is a bit of information that we don't have.
It's not available now. Yes, quite
Yes.
right. I move to the next incident relating to Bhulabhai Desai. You mentioned in your book that he recounted, that is Bhulabhai Desai, that he was told by one of his seniors very early in his career that if you are useful to me, I will be useful to you.
He
Now, what's the
began his
background to this?
No, no, he began his career at the Bombay High Court, joining the chambers of Sir George Lowndes. George Lowndes was a great lawyer and one of those who went to the Judicial Committee of the Privy Council. So he was not a judge; he was a lawyer
Yes.
here in India.
And went to
And
the Privy Council.
Privy Council, he sat at the
Yes.
Privy Council. So
Okay.
he sat in the highest judicial body without being a judge anywhere else. So that was Bhulabhai's senior. And incidentally, it seems he had told him soon after he joined, do well. And if you're useful to me, I will be useful to you. It's an advice that Bhulabhai conveyed to his juniors in
Yes.
his time. And that perhaps only meant that, being in the chamber, it's not just being there, to mark your presence and attendance, but do something useful,
Substantial so that you
substantial
can
step.
contribute to the
Yes, yes,
eminent
yes,
senior where
yes.
you are sort of learning. Yes.
Laboring and deviling
So there is a moral story, there's a
for
moral to
everyone.
this and a reason
Yes,
behind
yes.
this. There is another matter that is mentioned where Fali Nariman comes to be mentioned in your book. And he talks about, in the context of Bhulabhai Desai, makes a mention of BP Khetan.
Uh-huh. Yes,
Now, what
yes.
is this incident?
This is, of course, Philly Neriman mentions it, and this is a story that was narrated to the great Ashok Sen, A.K. Sen.
AK Sen. Okay.
Yes, by B.P. Kaitan,
Okay.
Kaitan and co-famous
Yes.
solicitors. It seems they had the Calcutta clients of Kaitan had a testamentary suit relating to wills
Okay.
in the Bombay High Court. And Bhulabhai Desai was the counsel they briefed, was knowing his prowess, his standing. At that time, he was already in the thick of the freedom movement as well. So
Okay.
not just confined to the law. He would be busy with that. But every evening they would have a conference, and the impression that they got is whatever would have been discussed the previous day, it was as if they started on a clean slate the next day.
It had not sunk
Bhulabhai,
in.
yeah, Bhulabhai gave the impression that he
Yes.
didn't remember anything that was said earlier. What is that? This went on. I think they had stayed there for 3 weeks They'd gone there 1 month before the case would come on
Was to
board,
come
and
up. Yes.
yes, and briefed him. Ultimately, the case was to be listed the next day. And then the solicitor, Kaitan, told the client, look here, we have done all that that we could humanly do. Briefed the best of counsel, had conferences with him. All that has been done. But I don't know what's the result of all this. The case is tomorrow. I have serious doubts whether he knows, whether he is understood. All that I would advise you to go to Mahalakshmi temple and pray, the goddess may work a miracle for you.
He wasn't confident at all.
At all. But the goddess did work a miracle the next day. It seems the next morning the case was on the court's list. The matter was called. Bhulabhai was there. The brief was about 2,000 pages, that's all. Without touching it, without any reference to it, for about 3 to 4 hours, extempore, Bhulabhai told the court the facts and the law. And
Unbelievable.
unbelievable. And so experienced and a veteran solicitor like VP Kaitan said it was perhaps the most consummate performance that I ever saw in my career. So you can
And even
imagine
it moved
oneself.
fully. It moved fully to have sort of mentioned it subsequently.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Bhulabhai was something, extraordinary. And his juniors included such stalwarts like Motilal Settleward was his junior, K. Munshi was his junior.
Kanayalal Maniklal Munshi. Yes.
Yes, yes, the founder of the Bharati Vidya Bhavan,
Yes.
independent India. I mean, in Bombay, he was the home minister
Yes.
in the first
Later governor of UP.
UP, yes, agent in Hyderabad during the
Yes.
action against the Nizam.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
and a brilliant lawyer. I mean,
Yeah, brilliant lawyer.
yeah, because when we look at all his public life, we forget that part of it.
Yes.
Just as in the case of Sarat Chandra Bose,
Yes.
the elder brother of Netaji, we know him, as the great Bose brothers, etc.
Yes.
But we
In his
tend to
own
forget.
right, he was a very
No, no,
successful lawyer.
no, not just success. That's a that's an understatement.
Yes.
He was one of the greatest lawyers this country has ever seen. Not just successful, but something out of the ordinary.
Quite right.
Yeah. And his juniors included such stalwarts like Chief Justice S.R. Das,
Yes.
Chief Justice P.B. Mukherjee, Sir S.M. Bose, who was Advocate General of Calcutta from 1944 during the British time till he retired from practice in 1966.
Okay.
But that was the kind of lawyer that Sharat Chandra Bose was, apart from his public life. So too with Munshi. Yeah, and he was in the Constituent Assembly, he was part of the drafting committee. And I think, if I am not wrong, that memorandum presented by Prime Minister Asquith to King George,
Yes.
if not mistaken, that was quoted in the Constituent Assembly by Dr. Munshi. If I am not wrong, I mean,
Yes.
it
Could
was
well
quoted
be.
in their
Yes.
fatwa.
But I'd just like to tell you that the long innings that Sharachan Bose, you mentioned as the Advocate General.
SM Bose, SM Bose.
Yes.
Yeah.
And similar was the tenure of Sirvai as the Advocate General
Yes, yes.
in
From,
Bombay
from
and
19
Kanayalal Mishra in UP at Allahabad.
Kanayalal Mishra, I wouldn't say was similar because there were, breaks in the stint.
Yes.
Sirva, yes, 1957 to 1974.
Yes.
Similarly, Sir Aladi in Madras from 1928 to 1944. But the longest and a record that can never be broken, I think, is Gujarat.
Okay.
J.M. Thakur,
Yes.
who was the sister's grandson of Sir Chimanlal Settleward and nephew of Motilal Settleward.
Okay.
Yeah, he was his sister's son and
Yes.
he was his chamber junior. He became the Advocate General the day the state of Gujarat was formed on
Okay.
May 1, 1960, if I'm not wrong.
Yes.
And that was 1960. He was Advocate General even in this century.
Really long. Really
Yeah.
long. Yes.
But what I have heard is, in later life, he was quite infirm, but still they continued him.
He
But
continued.
anyway, he has the longest record
Yes.
of more than 40 years as Advocate General. Thakur. Something more about Bhulabhai Desai.
Yes.
That is his public life.
Okay.
But yeah, he was there in the Bardoli Satyagraha. It is said from Bardoli Satyagraha, Vallabhai Patel emerged as the Sardar, the captain of our forces in the struggle for freedom. And Bhulabhai Desai uh, emerged as the lawyer, advocate for the farmers.
Yes.
And then he was in the Central Assembly, as you know. And his speech, in fact, someone sent me a copy of his speech on
Okay.
19th November. This is much after that book. That's after 19th November 1940. His
Okay.
speech opposing the budget. No, war had been declared, the wartime budget to the Britain. It is considered to be perhaps the finest speeches that the House Central Assembly had heard. And then ultimately, the crowning glory, as we all know, was the INA trial.
INA trials. Yes.
INA trial, which lasted from 5th November, 5th November 1945 to 31st December 1945.
Yes.
Bhulabhai Desai was the lead counsel for the defense, with Advocate General Engineer
Yes.
being the prosecution.
Yes.
And it is something, I mean, remarkable is not the word that we can use, something absolutely out of the ordinary. In fact, an English professor said he delivered himself of an oration which may rank with the greatest of addresses in English advocacy. And the result, of course, we all know, no one got a death sentence.
Yes.
They may have been imprisoned, they may have been deported, but
Yes.
none of the INA heroes.
No one. Yes, that goes to his
The
credit.
penalty.
I would request that the speech by Sir Bhulabhai Desai, if you said it, it would be included in the description portion of this video,
Okay,
your
okay.
video. Okay.
Yes.
Right. So thank you
So
very
that
much. And this
certain, of course,
conversation will continue. Thank you.
yes. Thank you.
Namaskar.
Pleasure.